welcome. So yes, welcome. I'm so sorry that you might hear my voice in the background. I know that there's lots of voices in the background. I'm so sorry about that. But I'm at the cafe. Okay, so this is going to be for a reading for Pisces, for a water sign, as their sign. And this is going to be for April 12th to April the 24th of 2025. So basically, in this one kind of reading, this is the way of how this is going to be proceeding with caution, and understand that there's going to be varied values of how it's going to be in this way. There are things that you must learn first, and there are things that you need to understand about, elaborate, and do things and whatever it is. But there are things that you need to learn in order to do that, right? It's just the way of how it seems to be, and you need to understand the way how it goes that way. There are things that you need to learn, and there are things that you need to understand. But when you have your own priorities, when you have your own ways, when you have your own feelings or wants or needs, whatever it is, but you need to understand that there are things that you must learn first. In order to do that, you need to proceed with caution. You need to do whatever you need to be. You need to act like you're supposed to do. There are things that you need to understand in that priority of how it is, right? When you do exactly what you're told to do, you be responsible on how you're feeling, how you act, how you proceed, how you do whatever you want. You have to do exactly what you're told to do. When you're feeling like where you're feeling like frightened, scared, whatever it is, you have to pay attention on how you're feeling. That's what it seems to be. You have to have your own peace of mind and saying, all right, well, God. And if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. But you need to understand that there's a way of having a give and take situation. I'm giving the information, you're paying attention. That's all it seems to be. But there are priorities that you need to understand. There are things that you need to learn. You need to, how you can do it. It's the way of how it is. There are things that you need to understand where you have your own priorities, where you need to do that. That's the way it seems to be. But this is the way it goes. So, in this oracle card I'm going to tell you about, it says pride. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. So when you have the word pride, you pay attention to it. When you do that, you have to have the way of how it is, the way how you feel, the way how you act, the way how you can do it. That's the way it seems to be. And when you have to have your own pride, you do exactly what you're supposed to do. You're responsible for it. Okay? So that's how it seems to be. So the way of how this is, the way of how it's going to be in that way, you have to do exactly what you're told to do. And you have to be responsible on how you're feeling, the way of how it is, and that's the way it needs to be. So you have to do exactly how it is in that way. So without further ado, without any question, that I'm going to see this as a wonderful feeling. We're going to look at what's going on from the basically how it is from the way of how it is in the left side, the middle, and the right. That's how it is. So that's how it seems to be. Okay, so that's the way it goes. That's the way it seems to be. So you have to understand what the way of how this is. So here we go. So in this note, you have the 8 Pentacles separate. It does represent your career. That's how it's based on it. So you could deal with the Virgo, Libra, and Taurus as zodiac signs. Plus you have the Hangman reverse. There's no restrictions on that ability. So when you do that, that's the way it goes. The King of Cups does represent support. You're having support. That's the way it goes. You can deal with it in the Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. But there are things you must learn first in order to do that. There is a way of how you can proceed with caution. The ability is from the right and wrong perspective. That's the way it goes. But this is kind of like where you have your own showmanship of how it is, right? That's the way it seems to be. So you need to understand how it is. So let's look at the past. 5 of Swords is upright, followed by the Queen of Cups reversed, followed by the Sun card is upright. Yeah, because you're going to be staying positive as much as you can. That's the way it goes. The 5 of Swords does represent conflict because you're not paying attention, you're having conflict, you're having disagreements, everything is not going your way or whatever it is. You have to believe that you can do it in order to do that in one way or another. You have to think positive. That's all you can do, Pisces. This is the way it goes, where you have to look at it from a different perspective. You do exactly what you're told to do. You're responsible of how you're feeling, the way of how it is, right? This is the way of how you can do it, as long as it needs to. If you set your own line, you get down to business. that's the way it goes. But you have to believe that everything has to be alright and dandy, what have you. But there are things they must learn first. That's the way it is. What's happening in the middle? The king catches up, the knight catches up, right? Well, the tower reversed. Well, the Knight of Wands reversed. Yeah, because you're not being immaturity, that's the way it goes. The Knight catches up represents romance, that's the way it goes. Between the Tower and the Knight of Wands, let's see, the 10 starts to separate. Yeah, because you have conclusions, right? You have all these conclusions, and you need to understand that that's the way of how you can do whatever you're told to do. That's the way it goes. You have to look at it. You have to pay attention on what's going on that way. This is the way of how it is. There are things they need to understand. When you have that, you could be dealing with another Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, as another zodiac signs, as air signs. You could also deal with another Leo as a fire sign and zodiac sign. You deal with another Gemini, Libra, Aquarius as another zodiac signs, as air signs in your birth chart. That's the way it goes in that way. And that's how it needs to be. What's happening between the King of Cups here? The King of Wands reversed, or the Queen of Wands to separate, or the Page of Wands reversed, or the Seven of Swords reversed, or the Seven of Wands reversed, or the Five of Cups reversed, or the Four of Swords reversed, or the Eight of Pentacles to separate. Yeah, because you're focusing on your career. You're focusing about more of your career, that's the way it goes. You're basically having passion, basically you're having the right way, that's the way it seems to be. So you need to understand that when you feel the right way, you do exactly how it is. You're not feeling about the wrong way. You're not feeling about how it, represents that. This is how it is. This is not your, cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever it is. It's not. But you need to understand about how this is in that way. You have to be having your own arrangement of how it is, right? That's the way it kind of goes. So, let's see. What's going on the left side, please? Devil reverse, okay, what's in the middle? The Empress is upright, okay, what's on the right? The Empress is upright, so you have structure. Alright, so the abilities from this way, this is the way it goes in that way. So what's happening between this devil here? The Tower is upright, followed by the World is upright. Yeah, because everything is completion. Everything is basically changing bit by bit. That's the way it goes in that way. So you do exactly what you're told to do. Because that's how it is, right? So that's how it seems to be in that way. Because that's how it is. What's this Empress chart about? The Emperor is upright, and the Star is upright. Yeah, because you want to have inspiration, you want to have structure, because that's the way it goes in that way, and you think, okay, well, this is the way how it goes in that perspective, because that's the way it seems to be. You go with your gut, you go how it is in that way, and you think, okay, well, I know what to do, but that's how it seems to be. You have to believe that you can do it at all costs, because that's how it seems to be. What's this Emperor? The High Priestess reversed, but with the King is upright. So you have restrictions, that's the way it goes. But this High Priestess about, the Death Star is upright, and because you have endings we're going to come out. When you have that, you have the ability from understanding about how it goes, and you have to think, okay, well, I need to do this. I need to set my own stuff. I need to believe that I can do it as long as it needs to. That's the way it goes. That's the way it seems to be. Because in order to that, you think, okay, well, I need to believe that I can do it in that way, in that theory. Because that's how it is. You have a beyond this situation and say, all right, well, I know what to do. I got this. I'm not going to intervene. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to have these being sidetracked, whatever it is, because that's how it is. You feel confident. You feel about how it's going to be in that perspective, where, okay, well, I know what to do, I got this, but that's how it's going to be. That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it needs to be in that way. So it's like you have to do what you can and say, all right, well, this is the way it seems to be. So what's happening on the left side? What's happening in the middle? What's happening in the right? And let's see. Right, so let's see. On the left side we have balance. Archangel Ezekiel is the need for balance and moderation. cooperation, compromise. Wait for perfect timing. You know, that's the way it goes. You're gonna wait for perfect timing where you're going to apologize what you did, or you think that everything needs to be good, but then you proceed as how you can do it in that way, and you think, okay, well, this is the way it goes. This is the way I need to do it, and that's how it is. You do exactly what you're told to do, but you have to be who you are and say, alright, well, this is how it's going to be. I know how I can do it. That's the way. You do exactly what you're told to do, but that's how it is. Alright? What's in the middle? You have the Knight of Water. Emotional, romantic, enthusiastic, consummative, falling in love, or wedding proposals. The need to balance emotions and invitation to a social event. Yeah, so maybe you need to balance your emotions, whether you're feeling like you're sad or you're feeling like how everything is. Maybe you're losing out of control. That's the way it goes, because you need to understand where you do exactly what you're told to do, because you have to be responsible. So you could be dealing with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, as your fire signs, as zodiac signs, but you pay attention to that as well. And let's see what's on the right side. We have the Seven of Air. Plans that need revision, more going on than meets the eye. Poor timing. Yeah, so you'll be having poor timing because everything is not going your way as planned. Things are not going as the way it goes, because you need to believe that everything has to be good, and when things have to be all good, you have to think, okay, well, this is how it is in that way. I need to figure this out. I need exactly how it is. I need to have my own belief system. That's the way it goes, because you do exactly. So you could use in their Gemini, Libra, Taurus, as zodiac signs, as your signs, and you pay attention to them. Let's see. Let me do one card for the left side. Okay, so A wants to reverse. There's no speed. What's in the middle? Seven of Swords reverse. There's no Seven of Swords reverse. There's no deceit. And the Five of Swords is upright. On the right side is regained. Yeah, because you're having conflict. So what's happening for this A wants here? The Six of Pentacles reverse, so there's no kindness, but now you want to right there's immaturity. Yeah, so when you have immaturity, that's the big goal, because you're being immature. And the Six of Pentacles reverse, you're not having any kindness because you're sounding rude, you're having disrespect. That's the big that's the way it goes. And you think, well, this is not going to end well. It's not, because you're focusing on that. You're focusing on being rude and not being nice. That's the way it goes. What's happening in the middle, please? The Empress is upright, there is nourishment. The Ace of Cups reversed, there's no satisfaction. The Hierophant is upright, there's guidance. Yeah, because you're going to have guidance, you're feeling nourishment, because that's the way it goes, and that's the way it seems to be. You are using the power it is in that way, because you're focusing on it. Focusing about what's going on in that perspective. And you think, okay, alright, so I know what to do, I got this, but that's how it seems to be in that way. And what's happening on the right side, please? Five of Wands, there's no chaos. The Three of Swords, there's no heartbreak. Four of Wands is alright, there's celebration. Yeah, because when you focus on that, you focus about having your own celebration, and you think, okay, yay, I'm going to do it. But that's how it seems to be. You're focusing about how it is that way, and you think about how I can do it, how I can do what I need to be told to do. That's the way it goes. But that's how it seems to be, I guess, right? That's how it is, right? So you have to understand that. But, you know, go, pay attention to what's happening. Pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to how you're feeling, how you're going to be how you can do it. That's the way it goes, because you're focusing about what's going on when you do that. That's the way it seems to be. You have to know about how you can do it, how you can feel, how you feel wanted, how you feel respectful. No, that's not. When you don't have any kindness, when you're acting like you're immature, there's things that are not going to be pulling you back. But that's how it is, right? But that's how it seems to be. But I hope you all like this video. Please give it a like, please give it a comment, and enjoy. And I'm so sorry, but I was at the cafe shop, and that's the way it goes. But thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all, and I'll see you next time in the way of how it is. And you do exactly what you're told to do, and you do exactly how it seems to be. So you do exactly how it is. But thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye for now, really, and